I am curious because this most recent patch did drop, and it did have some interesting implication for damage comps with Vice and Luna both getting a little touched. And while EKC versus Calm may be the match that's affected by that most, that's not until later today. Today, like you said, we have Lob City versus the Bozo Bunch with a team player Rampage start. Rampage, pretty big pickup on this map, especially with this double brawler composition. So we'll have to see how they make the most of that. But with a bit more traditional of a comp, we do have this Rasmus, Asher, and Now composition. So we'll just have to see if they can manage to survive using that Now healing versus the double brawler setup. But I see we even have our new emotes of Bestie in slot, courtesy of the devs adding those in, so that's a nice touch to our game. But that said, both barriers are down.
Yeah, that's a spicy one to have, and wow, Dropletto just wasting no time getting right out onto the field there and getting the first point. Do want to call out, we do have some substitutions coming in on the day. It is going to be Killiest in for Mystic, coming in on the side of Lob City, and going to be MoffinCuwwy coming in as a sub for Obscure Breads on the Bozo Bunch. So both teams coming in with a substitute on the day, and I actually really like what we got to see out of Killiest on Lob City last week. They still didn't end up coming up with the win, but we're competitive. We're putting up some fights, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he can show us today. We were just talking about before the broadcast kicked off, another KO comes on through, that Lob City are not mathematically out. They need a lot of specific results. It's kind of out of their hands. They need a lot of games to be going in non-upset directions. They need a lot of current top 5 teams to beat all of the teams around them down outside of the playoffs race. But as long as that happens, they do have a shot to still be able to make it here despite the 0-5 start.
And regardless if it sounds like it's out of their hands, they still need to put in the effort and win these games, so we'll have to see if they can make the most of that. But they've got this barrier taken, so it's looking like a bit of a good start to this round, but there's a little bit of back and forth there. MoffinCuwwy, a pretty good goalie, known mostly for their Rasmus and Kazan, so we'll have to see how much they're allowed to play those characters, or whether or not they get forced on perhaps a new pick, but the barrier's being traded here.
Yeah, really early barrier take coming on through there for Lob City as they look to set up for their shot. Nice block from MoffinCuwwy coming out to be able to have that death touch in place to be able to prevent the score from coming through the bottom corner. The aggression still coming on across the Leon, not quite able to connect that rush on towards the core. Dropletto clearing it upward, going to be able to find the second barrier. Now open goals available for both sides. Leo waiting on the top side. Killiest setting up with the bell ringer, not going to be able to send it in the direction they want. Interesting ricochet there, comes right back up to midfield. A flip comes out of Muncher to be able to try to send it towards the goal. Another shot going to get blocked away by both Killiest and Shapeshifting. MoffinCuwwy still holding down in the goal arc. A couple of really good blocks with the death touch there so far. And another send up from I. Going to be able to put it into the goal and take a 2-0 lead for the Bozo Bunch.
Yeah, these team players are really coming out into effect because it can feel like they're kind of just lobbing the ball downfield sometimes, but they're getting the most value out of that team player to just get it as far out of their net as possible so that they can readjust and get their players where they need to. Because there's a lot of times on this map where once that barrier is down, you feel like you have a lot less freedom to be where you need to be because the map is just a little janky with those speed nodes. So you just have to be a little bit careful, but these players are making some great adjustments, and the goalies themselves are holding it down quite well. But that said, on the side of the Bozo Bunch, they have a lot more Rampage stacks than the opposition, and with that kill, that's going to be even more that they have. But Leon's still holding on to there too. We'll have to see if they can stack those up. Right now, Dropletto and I are getting pretty big, but with one barrier on each side, we'll have to see if Leon can clutch this up in the 2v3 until Killiest can get back.
Ooh, great flip, great combo with the slashing strike there out of Leo, going to put them in a really good position once again, setting up for them to be able to find this one, but Dropletto responds with the stuff off the back of the core flip, pass down from Muncher, nearly going to be able to end the set right there, but they're not giving up yet on the Bozo Bunch side. Another great pass over to I, sends it into the goal, and that is a 3-0 set for the Bozo Bunch. Some explosive starts coming through from the right side team today.
Yeah, I can't really say what it was that sparked the core at the end there, but we see no Monumentalist for now here, so not terribly punished. But looking at this draft here, maybe we'll see a little bit more size picked up onto Dropletto to really go with that Rampage. Perhaps we'll even see some Might of the Colossus action later, but it's actually the bulk up pickup. A good pickup, keeps them alive, gives them some power, and gives them a ton of scaling with that high base stagger. But Primetime and Stacks, both just pretty good generic pickups. The size on Rasmus is always going to be nice. Another stagger picked up. The Orb Dancer is the one that I'm looking at here the most, as there was a Dash Awakening available, notably that Aerials for Leo Leon should they have wanted it. But instead they're opting for the speed, and while the orbs can be a little difficult to pick up on this map at times, given the spacing, that kill will not be difficult to pick up as they slam that one in. And now Kalius is going to be taking just a little bit of a break here as this offense is trying to make the power play happen, but Leo Leon with a good interception is almost taking both of these barriers.
Yeah, Leo's been able to keep finding himself in good positions to be able to take the barriers, but the rest of the team has not been able to really convert and find it the rest of the way home. There's going to be a follow-up dribble coming on through there. Again, it is Muncher in the right position, sending it right onto that barrier, and now Dropletto trying for the dribble, gets interrupted by Kilius, will get sent back up, and does look like there's a bit of a disconnect coming on through here. Muncher not really participating in the game anymore, and this might be what Lob City kind of need to be able to score here. Everything's slowing down a bit, but that core is not going to stop moving for a little while. I think they're going to play out the point before they're going to end up waiting for the reconnect here. So this is probably going to end up going over to Lob City.
Ooh. That's a big kill for the EXP, but that was not one of the players with Rampage, so it's not the most terrifying kill. But that said, we will be taking, I believe, a small break here to allow this player to return. But that said, perhaps it was a tactical DC to keep their Rampage stacks. Who can know these things? But on that said, we will just be waiting for them to come around. But as far as what I'm seeing so far, the double brawler comp is not working too terribly, especially with that Mako supporting them from the net. But they do just need to get a little bit more consistent on these conversions, especially even though Moffin is not a starter on this team, they are certainly a good player and a hard player to get through. So you're going to have to be a little bit careful getting through them. And Dropletto with now this flip available as we get into overtime here, most likely by the time they return. It's going to be something you really have to watch out for between the overtime and the team player. The core is going to be moving fast, so we'll just have to see how these players can adjust to that high speed just off the rip.
Yep, absolutely here. And now, yeah, we get some time to chill out. We get some time to discuss where these teams find themselves. It is a 2-3 start for the Bozo Bunch here, which for being a winner's bracket running team in Season 3, definitely not the kind of start that they were really looking for, but they gotta at least have been able to find their way to be able to try and come and compete here, trying to improve on what wasn't a playoffs run last time around, but was at least them being able to come out here and get a couple more wins.
Yep, a couple more wins, but also consider that they do have a new roster. They do not have Forgot on the team anymore, so it is a little bit of growing pains there, but they've done an excellent job adjusting so far, but with Obscure Breads not here, it's going to be a little bit difficult. That said, it seems like I is having a bit of technical difficulties as they have still not returned. Usually these players are back pretty quick, so something bad must have happened, or maybe they just have to restart their entire PC. So it's a little difficult to tell. We'll just have to see what's going on with them. It's definitely a rough start, but it's adjustments that they can make. I'm sure that they've been in situations like this before where somebody has something happen and you just have to, well, you lose the tempo of the game a bit. You just have to adjust. You say, okay, well, we're basically just starting the game over at this game state, so we got to just be careful. Not actually starting the game over, but you just can't look at it as, oh, well, we just lost this point 3 seconds ago. We got to buckle in. It's like, well, these are the points that are on the board. We just got to get back into it as best we can.
Yeah, and they were off to a really strong start, too. The 3-0 in the first round, definitely what they're going to be looking for, and the fact that they get to take that set in such a dominant fashion will give them a little bit of a buffer to, maybe end up losing a point or two to a disconnect. God forbid there's 2. We're going to hope that they just get to keep it at 1 here, but we'll see how the game continues to play out here. We're guessing power flicker at the time, but hopefully they'll be able to get back in here soon. Hate when that happens. You got to let the whole modem restart and everything. So let's give the ISP time to find its footing, and should be able to get back on out here before too long. Would love to get there now. I think Muncher's been playing a fantastic game so far. Really has done a great job of being in the right position, and I see him now on the field. So Muncher can move their character, and they can drop emotes. If you can drop emotes, you can do anything else. It looks like we're going to kick things back off again here, Dendar.
Yep. But I did notice, however, as they've reconnected, they don't have any Rampage or stacks on stacks. So perhaps that DC has actually stripped those from them as their punishment for not being connected. But that said, we're getting into it now. We don't have time to think about the past. We have to think about this core flip that's happening. And with one burned, that's only one barrier taken, but shapeshifting takes the other.
Yeah, that's a rough angle there for shapeshifting on that perfect pitch. Ends up releasing it. Dropletto in a perfect position there to send it back in off the back of the rebound. And Bozo Bunch wastes no time. They get right back in here, and they are able to take that point. So tied up at 1-1, and in rounds where all three players are connected, Bozo Bunch are now 4-0.
4-0, but at a bit of a cost. But Leon's taking a ton of damage here. That may be the cost of their team. But that flip burn, perhaps a bit preemptive. It felt like they had a point there, but maybe they just wanted the secure. But that said, now 2v3, but in the other direction, as with players connected, but dead, it's a bit of a different story.
Yeah, absolutely here. Leon going to be able to come back on and show up to the play, but has already lost both barriers for it, and Dropletto getting into scoring position. Nice barrier beam to dribble it right back up. Muncher sends it into Killiest's bell ringer, and it goes right back into the goal. Really great setup there from the Bozo Bunch. And we'll call that 5-0.
We call many things X-Lore. That, I think, certainly qualifies. But that said, that was an unfortunate round for them, but they just got to get back into it here, as now we are potentially looking at another 3-1 situation, another draft for the Bozo Bunch. But the offense has been looking better from the side of Lob City. They just need to make those final connections as they get this barrier here.
Yeah, the double brawler stepping up, going to be able to find both barriers, and that has been no problem for most of this game so far for Lob City. It's been the actual finishing of the job that's been tough. There's going to be a clear out from shapeshifting, just try to buy some space on those locks. We'll be able to push in for more. Good block from Killiest. Going to be able to keep that defense up for a little bit longer, and now they're setting up for a nice solid little play. There's the slice and dice, there's the flip, sends it down. Killiest isn't ready for it, and they do end up breaking apart that offensive play a little bit already. Now Dropletto starting to focus in on towards those other barriers. Going to get cleared back out. Leon in a good position here. Sends it back on through. Killiest waiting up on the top side. Bellringer through. Not going to be able to send it past Muncher, though. And Dropletto pushes it past Leo. Gets the second barrier. Goal is opened up. And Bozo Bunch, once again, are coming back on this point. Pass splitter comes in on the bottom. Dribbles it back up to Dropletto. And Snare Drum's only going to buy a little bit of time. There's going to be the flip out of Killiest. Sends it back up towards Muncher. Now Killiest coming in on towards the bottom side. Muncher gets it back down to Dropletto. Dropletto looking to snag it away from midfield, and Muncher finds himself in the perfect position. They will take that point.
A little bit too forward of a dribble there. Muncher catching that immediately and getting the point for their team and leading them into this draft. No Monumentalist yet, but even with their disconnect, they were the highest XP. That just goes to show their performance so far. But that said, still some pretty good pickups here. The heavy impact, a good deny, but also a good pickup for the now, getting that cooldown reduction on that secondary. It's only up to 3 seconds, but on a relatively short cooldown like that, it's still a lot. The Exposed Matrix finally, a Dash Awakening picked up here for the Zentaro. And the Rapid Fire is a good pickup too, as I believe that gives them Rapid Fire and Prime Time. That's going to be a lot of primaries coming out. More scaling for Dropletto, a little bit of damage onto Moffin. And then we see the Orb Ponderer picked up by Killiest. X having some longer cooldowns, not the longest, but still reasonably long. That's going to give them a lot more agency in this game, but I do feel like it's not going to give them the sort of collapsing pressure that they need to get some of these points, but they're getting the barriers pretty quickly now, so that's going well for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's been true all series long, and finally, Leo's going to be able to find the angle and get one in past Moffin, gets the knockback off the back of that rush, sends it right back upward, no defense available. Lob City break the loss streak another time. See if they're going to be able to take that into the full reverse sweep, though. They are at a serious disadvantage off the back of these first 2 sets.
Disadvantage, but doable. That said, I do think that Dash Awakening onto Leon is finally giving this team a bit of the collapsing pressure that they need to get these secures. We'll have to see if they can just keep it up, but it's also giving them a lot of damage. Leon themselves are quite low, but Muncher going low, and Killiest with a flip available could be looking for a potential kill here.
Definitely could. There's the bounce off the top. Going to be able to open things up. Leo keeping Muncher very low here, but going to be able to jump back out with the lifeline. Do manage to find themselves the second barrier. Goes in for the flip. Stolen back away, though. Killiest was waiting for it. Going to be able to keep that aggression going. Leo not able to touch it, though, and Dropletto now in a one-on-one. Not able to set up with that path splitter, not able to take it past Shapeshifting, who does have that flip available. If they end up needing it, will get pushed on forward. There's going to be Killiest just continuing to take these shots. Won't be able to knock them past Moffin, though. Trying to set up the offense once again. Killiest doing a good job of disrupting Muncher, though. Setting up an opportunity for Leo. Pendulum swing clears it back out. Gets past Dropletto. Shapeshifting sends it back to midfield. Muncher and Dropletto setting it back up, though. Passing back and forth, and Snare Drums interrupts the path. Dropletto once again with the flip available. Going to be even keel between these two. Shapeshifting's got to use this one. Will be able to send it back, but the aggression keeps on coming through. Dropletto takes another shot, but Shapeshifting will be able to keep up the defense. KO found onto the bottom side onto Kilius. Leo trying to set up some fancy miracle plays on their own. Won't be able to do it, and yet again, Dropletto with the back pass to Muncher closes out the point. Coming on through for another one there. Hopefully we get Dendar back here before too long. And there will be Moffin falling back on the defense yet again. Not able to get past the lock this time around. There's going to be the double barrier already found here for this side of the Bozo Bunch. So they look to turn this one back into yet another point. 2 more goals to take game number 1. Should have the opportunity here before too long. Pass back on up from Moffin. Dropletto waiting with the barrier beam, doesn't connect it onto the core. Kilius dueling with Muncher here, trying to get the clear back on across. Leo going to be able to send it back in towards the barrier. There's the send down again. It's Muncher just finding the shots over and over again where Shapeshifting can't reach him.
A little bit of technical difficulty there by me. I heard the unmuting sound, started talking, and then just was told that I was muted. So good pickup there by Gordo to carry the cast. But that's getting into this next point. I do like the defense that I'm seeing from the Bozo Bunch, even though they have the substitute goalie. It's looking quite clean. Perhaps that just shows how well of a midfielder Muncher can play. But that said, they're getting a little bit low here, and with this double brawler setup, it's a lot of damage, but it's surprisingly not enough to kill, even though they did seem like they were looking for it there. Dropletto looking for a kill of their own. Having all of that stagger, it's so hard to kill Dropletto. But that's it, Leon, a little bit low on energy, and this Orb Ponder is going to get Kilius back into the game with that focus. But Dropletto's full energy, and they're only 1 point away.
Yeah, Dropletto still pushing for more. Did end up using the flip there. Muncher's taken very low, but Leon can't get the job done. Kilius going to try their best, but Muncher's already back up at that full stagger, and there's Dropletto finding the KO on the bottom side. A power play for the Bozo Bunch could be enough to close out the set. Moving on forward, it's going to be Muncher looking for another shot. Moffin sends it back up towards midfield. Dropletto waiting on the bottom, gets perfect pitched back away. Shapeshifting does still have access to the flip. They do find one barrier there. Nice angle found by Muncher yet again, who's just on fire today, by the way, as there's going to be perfect pitch sent back out. Dropletto waiting on the bottom, goes in for the path splitter. Really great positioning. Nowhere good for Shapeshifting to send it off the back of that flip. Now means that the offense will keep on going. Leo taken into the staggered state. Dropletto going to be able to dodge away from the slice and dice. Kilius sends in another shot, blocked away by Moffin. There's going to be Muncher finding the second barrier. Flip comes through for Leo. The defense from Moffin is still there. Dropletto disrupting the continued offensive attempts. And now it is going to be Kilius taking it back away. Death Touch sends it over to Muncher. Dropletto waiting at midfield, takes another shot. Drum and Base will clear that one out. Kilius sets up the bull rush, not going to be able to angle the shot correctly off of it. And Muncher now coming in on the top side. KO found for Dropletto. Another power play here for the Bozo Bunch, trying to close out game number 1. Pass off the bottom, flip out of Dropletto, past Shapeshifting, and Bozo Bunch take the lead in the series.
That was a series of incredible plays by, I want to highlight Muncher there as 2 barrier takes that I didn't even see. They just take as though it's nothing, and then that final pass in the perfect spot for Dropletto to use that flip and force the goalie into a 50-50. Great plays by them and great confirms by Dropletto. But Moffin was looking good on the defense here. I have no complaints about them, and while the double brawler comp, while in theory I think it was a good choice and they had a lot of potential going in, they just couldn't find the confirms where they really needed them most, and that's not going to be a great start to the series for them in their position. But that said, plenty of games to play ahead and not something to dwell over. Just got to go to the next one and be ready for the opportunities that come to you.
Yeah, for certain. Not a great first game coming out of Lob City there. Not able to find too many scoring opportunities. They take 2 goals total in, or maybe, no, I think it was 2 total in the entire game, and one of those was due to a disconnect. So definitely going to be looking to try to turn this back around coming into game number 2, where it will be Bozo Bunch's map pick, actually. I think that's Atlas's Lab, if I'm reading my tiny text as best I can.
It's a little difficult to tell. It does say Bozo Bunch. The next one looks like Gates of Obscure, but I don't know if that was their pick or their ban. It's just a little too small on my monitor to tell.
Gates of Obscure is the ban. The first 2 are banned, second 2 are picks. Yeah, it's Atlas's Lab.
Okay. So, bit more traditional of a map, one that players are very familiar with, but also one that invites a bit of damage to the party. But that said, with characters like Vice getting a little bit touched there, and Mako noticeably getting some nerfs previously with that patch. They got a little bit of a primary hit, and then there's the bug fix with the channeled abilities now that require them to have a minimum cast time. So I'm not sure how that will affect the defense, but there it still looked good from the Mako pick. It just wasn't quite enough. But that said, we're just waiting for the next game to roll around. But
Yeah.
I'm curious, with the patch, are there any particular things you're looking for here or looking at, or is there nothing that really speaks out to you and you just think that regardless of the changes, these players are going to be able to make the most of whatever's available to them?
Well, another character that got tapped down on the patch was the Now, getting some extra cooldown on the secondary, and still did not look to affect Muncher there at all. Muncher had a fantastic first game of the pick, and definitely still looked to be in pretty good form, even with a little bit of a movement speed nudge and some of that additional cooldown, like we talked about, that might be holding the Now down a bit more than she used to be. The other thing to call out though is that Big Fish is back, man. I love Big Fish. It's just a
Big fan
good
of Big
simple
Fish.
awakening. I'm happy to have it back in the rotation.
Okay. Get big on them, get a little bit more extra health. Hard to turn that one down. But that said, another thing that I'm potentially looking at here is Glass Cannon, as that is, depending on the midfielder, can be quite the treat to get early on and just give you that little bit of extra speed. But looking at the now changes, like you said, there was that speed and the secondary change, but I think Muncher was just playing a great game, great positioning, great awareness on everything, great strikes. I think like you said, even regardless of those changes, they played an excellent game, and so you could almost like barely tell that there was anything changed to that character.
Yeah,
But
for sure. I mean, yeah, it looked like the same character to me. At least it gave
yeah,
number one. So we'll find out if some players are going to start to prio those characters just a little bit less. We do have our starting awakenings here. It looks like it's going to be Catalyst and Cast to Last. So maybe a little bit more creation emphasis. I still think the Now, it doesn't seem like anybody's going to be missing any beats on that one. No pun intended as the Mako band comes on through. I still think that's going to be a high priority for the Bozo Bunch. But the Octavia band's going to come through, and there's that Now snapped right up.
yep. Now quickly picked up. I guess those nerfs were not quite enough to deter people. But that said, Catalyst is a big awakening here to start out with. It's hard to take something like Cast to Last over that, especially on a map like Atlas Lab, where there's going to be a lot of chokeholds where you are struggling to survive against just a myriad of attacks. But that said, we do see the Zentaro picked up, another great Catalyst user, especially with all of the hits that they have, but also Catalyst a good defensive pick against that character, given how many times you get hit against them. So we'll just have to see what the pick 2 and 3 combined are. But with the Now picked up, I'm not quite sure. I don't think we'll see the double brawler here again, but I am curious to see what we will see. That said, with Catalyst available, this Centauro is going to be really hard to deal with on the offense, so you're going to need a really strong goalie to deal with it. And we see the Kai picked up as the midfielder here. I like this as well, but again, with that multi-hit primary, that Catalyst is going to work both for them and against them just a bit. So that's probably going to be, I'm thinking we're going to see 6 Catalysts picked here.
Very possible. Leo, yeah, on that Zentaro, like you said, a classic pick for him. Definitely a player that's surprising to see at a 0-5 scoreline coming into the season, right? It's a player who's historically been in playoffs, I think, every season and has had such dominant runs historically, just not able to put it together with the team this time around. I don't think he himself has shown a lot of reduction in his play, but just the team hasn't quite come together all the way. There's that lockdown goalie you were looking for. It comes through for Lob City, actually, in that big old hamster of the Dubu. But meanwhile, X and then the Rasmus probably going to be back in the goal for the Bozo Bunch. They've got their sub goalie. They know what picks they like, and they're perfectly willing to build their drafts around that and snag the Rasmus for a second time.
Big day for Hampton fans, but yeah, the Rasmus most likely that goalie pick. Surprised to not see the Kazan pick by Moffin at all today, but perhaps they're feeling most confident on the Rasmus, or perhaps that as their sub, this is what they practiced on, so this is just what they're going with. But definitely a pick I'm a fan of from this player, just a fan of this player in general. But that said, a pretty traditional team comp here. Zentaro, Kai, Dubu. That's going to give you a lot of options both in the midfield and on the defense, on the offense as well. But the Now and X, that's a lot of scaling potential and a lot of very scary awakenings available to those players. And when they're already starting with Catalyst, it's going to be tough to keep them down. But that said, Quick Strikes is back in. It had a little bit of a bug, but now it is back and alive, so you got to watch out for that. But that said, getting into this game, I'm curious to see which side. I do like the roster a lot from Lob City here on this pick with the 3 characters that they've picked here. But that said, the Now and X, a very scary potential. I'll have to see if they can live up to that potential. But if the Bozo Bunch are playing the way that they've been playing, I have no doubt they'll get to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, as we start to load on in for game number 2. Again, I haven't really done the math here. I didn't even thoroughly do the math to determine that Lob City were still alive. Just some quick glances that seem to imply that they are, theoretically. Going down to 0-6, though, I mean, it starts to feel a little bit doomed here. I'm not going to lie to you, Dundar. So definitely looking for a big comeback here from Lob City, not just in the series, not just in the game, but in their whole season. It pretty much has to start right here, right now. Ricocheting off the center here, getting a good bit of damage on a cross, and everybody with shapeshifting going for that catalyst, like you said, Dendar.
Yeah, it is definitely a situation for Lob City, a Sisyphean task, if you will, but they have the potential to get there. They just need to make it happen. That said, a lot of things happening here, as well as a kill and potentially another one. 2 kills. It looks like this is going to be the end of this round.
Yeah, really good start there for Dropletto. Just KOing both of the members. Shapeshifting able to clear it back out, though, using that hot dog roll, and will actually be able to find enough time to be able to clear things out. Doesn't end up giving up the goal, doesn't end up giving up the barrier. And now back on the full 3-on-3, so good job to not just lose the point there in the 1 versus 3. Very tough stuff to do. Killy is firing out that freshly buffed Giga Blast, although with a slightly longer cooldown. Not going to be able to find a connection there. Dribbled back off the top is Dropletto. There's going to be the flip out of Muncher, but it will be blocked away by the Donuts. Shapeshifting doing a good job of holding on and buying time for the Lob City crew this time around. They are going to send it on through, though, and that will be another score for Dropletto.
A little bit of indecisive in there by Killiest, it felt like. It looked like they couldn't decide if they wanted to cover the bottom queer towards the goal or the pass, and the pass finds its way. Great pass by Muncher there. And good awareness, even on the defense, but Shapeshifting just could not pull it together for that defense, unfortunately. But that said, new point, new opportunities. Leon almost getting a double barrier there with that flip, but it's a double barrier for their own team that goes down.
Wow, beautiful bounces there coming on through from that flip, and Bozo Bunch get everything that they could hope for and more. MoffinCuwwy is still going to be able to hold on towards that top barrier for as long as they need, and they will be pushing in the aggressive stance once again. Dropletto waiting up at the top side, not going to be able to get their hands on towards that core. Comes back on down. Muncher holding on. The flip comes through from Kilius, but it will be passed over to Dropletto, and there is that quick mix-up. Dropletto looks down, sends it up, and will be able to pick up the point.
That zigzag mix-up there, really tough to deal with, especially if your character like Dubu that has a little bit of committal options. You either have to throw out the log or the roll or something. So great usage by Dropletto there to get things going. But that said, it's also a little bit difficult to do. So good on them for the execution as well. That was something that was very practiced and not at all something that just kind of came out of left field. But that said, the barrier take kind of coming out of left field, I now has to be careful. They do have this flip available, but they need to keep their positioning tight, otherwise they might fall victim to a stray hitbox. But good slow playing here, getting rid of that black hole. I like that by them. They're not trying to rush anything at all. They recognize they have, well, they're at a bit of a disadvantage here so far. They have a lead overall, and they're trying to keep that calm composure as one barrier goes to each side here.
Yeah, great snag by Moffin there to be able to send it back down. Now actually aggressing on Achilles, keeping them out of the play. There's that Giga Blast not connecting, and it's effectively a 2 versus 2 here on the opposite side. KO found by Moffin, just playing brawler in the goal arc there, as they ended up taking one down. Dropletto going to be trying to clear out Shapeshifting at the same time, creating a one-on-one opportunity for Muncher. They will be able to take that second barrier. The respawn from Kilius is coming across. Is it too late? Not quite yet. Dropletto won't be able to push it through for the goal, but Leo already kind of taking out the play in their own right. Won't be taken down, and the second barrier will fall. Dropletto going to be able to finish off Leo on the other side. Here comes the setup. The flip from Muncher doesn't connect. And maybe they won't be able to convert this after all. 5 seconds to go. The Donuts holding strong, will not let that core through. Dropletto takes one more shot and won't be able to get it past Shapeshifting. Killy's now in a good position to try to take a scoring opportunity for themselves. So far not able to touch the core though. Waiting around for it. Comes on through. Pendulum swing clears it out. Dropletto waiting up on the top. Killius takes another shot. Flip away from the Giga Blast. Killius still in control. Can't hold on to it though. And Dropletto will take it back over towards the right. The barrage is trying to keep the aggression going. Leo Leo still not really able to set up anything, not able to touch the core, not able to interact with the characters. Finally gets the flip blocked away by the Death Touch, but Killiest is in position. Moffin can't hold on forever, and Lob City will be able to score.
A great save, but even better positioning by the side of Killiest there. Good awareness by them to walk up there. But I feel like we saw some really great plays there that just got overshadowed by how much energy these players had. The Giga Blast from Killiest was really nice, but the flip was able to negate it. Perhaps in a game that wasn't a Catalyst start, that could have been a round-winning play, but unfortunately, you got to work with what's available to you and what the situation is. So, while these plays are good, they fall a bit to the wayside in the face of all of this energy. But that said, there's still a lot of damage coming out here on Leo Leon. Not as much as previous round where they were staggered pretty quickly, but now they're still pretty low, and this Rasmus could be looking for the kill there. There they go. A big kill here, and a barrier take potentially coming.
Yeah, flip coming on through here from Muncher will be sent back away by Killiest. Dropletto going to be able to position for that next barrier take, and Muncher waiting at midfield. Leo clears it back over. Moffin going to be able to find the KO. It's a 3 versus 2. Make that a 2 versus 2, though. Nice smooth rollout coming through there from Shapeshifting. Going to be able to take one out. Will be able to buy the space to be able to keep on playing out the point. Killiest comes on out, has a couple seconds of power play, but Dropletto's back here as well. They will be able to take Leo to about half. Giga Blast going to send back away Muncher. Leo setting up with the slashing strike, trying to get into position, sets up the rush, the flip from Moffin, going to be able to clear it back out. Leo waiting on the bottom, another death touch. Moffin is just getting them dizzy here. They can't play the game. Leo gets taken out. They do finally find their barrier, but now it is a 2 versus 2, 3 versus 2 on the map here. Donut's not going to hold forever. Eye comes on up, not going to be able to push it past Shapeshifting. Waiting in for the pass. Dropletto can't touch it, and Killiest clears it out once again. It's just been tough to get past this Dubu, Dendar.
Definitely tough, but Shapeshifting has this flip available, and so does Muncher, so it's going to be a bit back and forth here.
And the flip comes back on across. Shapeshifting trying to send things away. Leo nearly going to be able to take it down. There will be able to find the KO. It's not even onto Leo. And now dribbling up off the top. It's going to be Dropletto in that Maximus trying to force it past, but that's not Quick Strike's X. It doesn't matter, though. One more bull rush, one more shot. Back into the goal. Bozo Bunch takes set 1.
Set 1 taken. Some great plays overall, but that offense by Dropletto was just too much, even in the face of 2 defenders in the net. But here it'll be Moffin who actually gets the first pick. And some pretty good options available. We do see that glass cannon, like mentioned earlier. Perhaps that could be taken to deny Dubu some of the speed. But there's kind of speed all around. They opt for the Orb Ponder to give themselves some more cooldowns. With how they've been using this hook, I'm a big fan of that pickup. And the extra special on Dubu, though, is going to be a little tough, as that ultimate, if they can get a little bit of range on that, could be really nice. But the prize fighter pickup here, the way Dropletto's been playing, I think is going to get stacked very quickly. But Stacks pickup and Hotshot, both are going to be pretty big impacts for those teams. More speed is always good, but the Hotshot giving cooldowns is going to be tough to deal with, as well as the extra core speed. And then finally, we do see that Dash Awakening picked up early this time here, not greeting for that explosive entrance. We're just taking the Dash Awakening when we can get it to have the impact that we need on the round. But that said, they're having an impact on Leo Leon's health bars. They have to burst just to stay alive. They're not able to put the core with it. But it looks like they might be going down, and a prize fighter stack might be getting found relatively soon if they keep this up.
Yeah, and the hot shot on Muncher, I mean, with how they've been playing, I'm almost more nervous about the core speed if I'm Lob City. They have had such great positions, great shots coming on across, and Hotshot just going to make that all the more dangerous, as their scoring has been immaculate on this now through the first game and the third so far. Dropletto coming in with the bell ringer, not going to quite connect on towards the core. Leo, the good scoring opportunity here, gets in towards the Oni's blade. Another block coming through from Shapeshifting will keep that offense going. Really good positioning there on the barriers, but the Tofu Fortress will not hold on for now. Sent back away by Killiest. They do use the barrage to be able to clear it on past Dropletto. Dropletto just trying to get into position. Great flip from Moffin. Defends yet again. Dropletto a little bit hit stunned there. Not going to be able to send it back on across. Doesn't have the flip available. Moffin still holding it down on the other side. And Leo Leon just can't get anything to happen this game. Moffin is locked down.
Definitely some excellent defense from the blue side, but I saw some good offense from Shapeshifting, surprisingly being the one that I'm highlighting here, as they made some very good preemptive plays, or proactive, I suppose, would be the better choice of word there, as they were walking up on that offense, and even on the defense, they had a stun to deny the core flip and allow themselves the space they need to get the core out. So definitely seeing some good proactivity from them, but that said, the team combined is just not doing quite what they need to, but they're certainly doing some damage to themselves as that black hole has put Leon in staggerable range. He just needs to survive at this point, as do both of these barriers. It's only one left for each side. This is a big round to win, but a lot to lose if you're hoping to keep those stacks on stacks or those prize fighter stacks or even the Orb Ponderer.
Yeah, really good stuff here, and there's going to be both barriers taken out pretty early here. Nice clear out from Kilius. Leo dashes through. Not going to be able to find a good scoring opportunity yet. Kilius is there for the backup, though, and they get right back into the cycle. Going to try to set up for shooting opportunities for Leo. Pulled back away by the death touch, though. That's going to break it. And we'll be able to move into position. Dropletto gets it back down. Flip out of Kilius, and it gets past to Leo. Keeps that core speed going, and Moffin can't touch it in time.
That's a difficult spot because you look for potentially the kill there on Leon and hope that the core gets hit as well. But in trying to take them out, the core just slips right past that hitbox. The handle hitbox of that pendulum swing, not quite as large as the top of it. So good pass that led to a goal there, but a good kill by Dropletto here gets them a stack as well as a barrier.
Yep, finding another one there. Will be able to flip things back away, and they do manage to get the both barriers. Ooh, Moffin. Stage light's getting a little too bright there. Doesn't end up finding the core flip after giving up their first point in a long time. But the KO comes through for Muncher and Dropletto not long afterwards. Right back to business in the 3-on-2, trying to push in for their second barrier flip. Gonna get thwarted there. Kilius right in position, and the Tofu Fortress will be able to shut it down. Kilius loses a big chunk of health, though, and they will be able to clear it back away with Kilius down to about a third. Muncher sends it back over. Dropletto waiting on the bottom. Leo going to be able to disrupt for now, but the dribble comes on across, trying to mix him up. Leo goes in for the rush, doesn't actually connect onto the core. It will be a pass down from Kilius, another shot, another save with the death touch, and Moffin clears things out towards the bottom.
We're down towards the bottom, but some big energy gains here on Muncher here. We could potentially see a flip, but it's Kilius who we got to watch out for, and it is a goal by them. A quick pass to them with that flip available. The net was left open. No death touch there to save that one. We've seen Moffin in the past use it almost like a creation, like a rune pillar. It does have that creation tag, just locking down that space, but there it is just not available, and a point goes to them. But Shapeshifting has this flip available, as well as Leon, so we might see a ton of energy come out this round, both potentially defensively and on the offensive side. But Muncher has theirs, and Moffin with that Orb Ponder is definitely going to be picking up some orbs and leading to their own potential. But that said, this first barrier goes down, a mix-up attempt, but not quite there, as now Dropletto is fighting for their life.
Yeah, absolutely. And there will be health bars going down on both sides. A nice KO found by Dropletto, though, turning things back around and finding it for the squad. Pass down to Muncher. Good block from Kilius, coming in as sub-goalie and doing a solid job of holding on to the points. Will be Dropletto waiting for it up on the top. Kilius does have access to that flip as necessary. Bull Rush keeps the aggression. Finally, Kilius feels obligated to use that flip, but it's Muncher sneaking it past two and finding the barrier yet again. Really nice moves there on the core, getting the pass, setting it up to Dropletto. It's one-on-one, Dropletto and Shapeshifting. Muncher helps out, and Shapeshifting will be able to hold on for now. Going to be looking for their first set win so far today, our Lob City. Still pushing in for this last remaining barrier, trying to get themselves a chance to be competitive in this series. Flip comes out of Muncher, doesn't connect. Nice setup with the rush coming out of Leo. He will be able to open up the goal. Dropletto trying to dribble it, not going to be able to do it. It sneaks past Moffin, and it is not with a huge bang, but with a bit of a whimper that Lob City do find their first point.
Certainly not how you want to get that first round win, but that said, 1-1 in sets here, and the draft has opened up. We see that big fish you mentioned earlier. I know you're a big fan of that one, but the quick strikes, we talked about earlier how strong that is with the catalyst, and Kilius is going to snap that up instantly. Pretty reasonable pickup there. But that said, that least perfect form now available. That's going to be a little bit scary in these pockets. Moffin, not with anything too terribly scary to pick up here. Potentially the rapid fire. We do see the rapid fire pick up, the big fish pickup. And now, interestingly, we see the stagger onto Shapeshifting, not the missile propulsion. I believe they have the extra special. I would have liked to see potentially that missile propulsion with the extra special really helping on this offense, just locking down those pockets and making it a nightmare for the Bozo Bunch. But that said, they get the first barrier here. Potentially not all feels lost. It's looking good for Lob City if they can just keep this up, especially with Muncher getting so low. That's a lot of damage, but a lot of potential as well.
Absolutely is here. Dropletto trying to keep the aggression going up towards the top. This Tubu for shapeshifting has really kind of turned things around a little bit, at least compared to the Mako. Looking like it's had a lot more opportunities to block some of these offensive shots coming on through from Dropletto and Muncher. Not quite sneaking as many goals, and not nearly as fast as they were in game number 1. Giving them an angle here to tie things up at 1-1. We're all tied up in game number 2 for the time being. Dropletto gets it back on down towards Muncher. Muncher trying to push for a little bit extra. There's going to be that second barrier found right into the flip, right into the bell ringer. Beautifully executed by the Bozo Bunch as they take point number 1 in the set.
Yeah, that is a tough, tough spot. The core is right in front of your net, and it is flipped. You have no agency over what is happening. You just have to pray. But Dropletto, not giving you that chance. He said, you're going to church, you're praying, but it's just not enough. But that said, this first barrier, the second barrier goes down too. Muncher needs to stay alive with this flip to help on this defense.
Yeah, really good stuff there out of Leo, setting up for the double barrier, going to be able to take him. And now setting up for the follow-up shot, comes in with the rush, sets up the slice and dice, can't quite get it, and Moffin's going to be able to finish off the job, finds the KO, gets the block off of Killius' shot, does it all at once, and will be able to set up a really good power play opportunity here. It's caught on the wrong side of the donut, somehow slips out through the bottom, though. Little bit of a saving grace there for Lob City. Will it end up being enough, though? Dropletto does have access to the flip. There's that pendulum swing nearly finding its way on through. Dropletto has access to the flip when he wants it. Can't snag onto the core and will buy some additional time. Muncher are waiting back on the bottom side. Gets it back over towards Leo. And Leo and Killius pushing all in up on the top. They continue to dribble it, but finally Leo will find the goal.
Ooh, there were some good saves there, but they just couldn't get it out. And with that kill going down, that's going to be some good EXP for Leon potentially for this next draft. But that said, it's also going to reset the energy on Muncher, which is kind of where you want to be when Catalyst is on the table. So good pickup of a kill by them. But Killius has a ton of energy here and is just waiting, and they couldn't find a clear out option because there's just nothing to contest both of those players being available. That said, we've got 3 in the box now, so that adjustment has already been made. It's been maybe 5 seconds, and this team recognized what was happening on the defense and has already made the adjustment. So kudos to them, but they lose a barrier in the process.
They lose a barrier, but they pick up a KO. Dribbling from Muncher here, going to try to get it past the Tofu Fortress. Flip out of Killius, just trying to buy that additional time. The core rocketing back into the position it was just a second ago, but those extra seconds were critical. Double flip going to KO right away once again, and right back into the power play are the Bozo Bunch. Passes coming on through. Nice setup with the bull rush. Will be able to find that second barrier. Dropletto trying to dribble into themselves. Gets an unfortunate bounce, and the GOALIE will move back on over towards midfield. Lifeline still holding on to it for the time being, dribbling it off the bottom. Muncher just so hard to predict here, nearly gets another shot through and forces that flip out of shapeshifting, but Leo explodes onto the scene and finds himself another goal.
Muncher definitely difficult to deal with when they have possession. We saw in a previous series where even when they had a flip, they were using that primary to mix up their timing so well. And here they're doing it once more, but they're also getting a ton of energy from that catalyst by doing that, as well as XP. But they're already at level 10, so not much XP to be gained. Just draft priority. Wow. And should they win this, that could potentially be a monumentalist, but this is just so dominating.
Yeah, another KO ends up coming through. They do use Dropletto's flip there. That is a big resource expenditure for what was already a 3-2 or a 3 versus 2 position with the goalie down, but they decide it's worth committing just to take it to 0.5 here, and this gets coming a little bit close, Dendar.
Definitely getting a bit close, certainly more even than the previous one, but we saw Dropletto use that flip. That said, we also saw Muncher go down and lose their energy, but 10 seconds later just had it back. They get these barriers left and right. Dropletto is on a tear with the help of Muncher. But that said, Killius has this flip available, and Leon's working on one, so they should be able to hold it down for now.
Yeah, really are doing a good job here. Another one!
Whoa.
Muffin! I mean, these cores, they have a third! They just can't find their way onto the barriers. Muffin is just waiting in the middle. The core comes their way, and they clear it right back up through the center. That's going to be the point. Dropletto takes it home, and you cannot find barriers up against this Bozo Bunch sub-goalie.
Let's be clear, there were some boys' angles, but we saw the strike war there by Moffin saving it on that third last time. They are awake. They are locked in for this game, and this is a sight to see. I'm a big fan of what I'm seeing here for the Bozo Bunch, but that said, the picks are up. Still no monumentalist, but we do see that Orb Dancer pick up here, but the Adrenaline Rush X is going to be so scary. that's going to be, Dropleto's already getting these kills. That's going to be more frequent kills and more reward for them. The rest of the picks are a little bit lukewarm here, but that team player is going to lead to an interesting dynamic now, as that's going to be a lot of core speed going to a team that was already pretty dominant, shifting from that defense to offense, and now it's going to be even more dominant, as Moffin finding these clears is certainly going to be finding them a little bit easier with that core speed, but a barrier is taken in protest to what I am saying, so we will just have to see if they can get both, or whether or not with this explosive entrance they'll have the speed to run circles around them.
I'm just expecting only boys angles from you. Just oops all boys is this game going on forward, just not being able to find any of these bounces off of the walls, but they finally do get one there. Ooh, big KO actually comes through onto Dropleto there. Did have the full energy burst as well. Moffin goes on a 6 KO streak, though, just continuing to take members off of the field there with that death touch. And more often than not, it's been Leo Leon who is kind of in that aggressive position, trying to be the one running circles around the goalie, but just coming out a little bit on the wrong side of the character combat. Now going to be Dropleto back in that Maximus, trying to push for a little bit extra. Wants to get that second barrier, but Shapeshifting still holding it down. Rollout comes up and to the right. Not going to be able to find the barrier there. Moffin still holding on, though. Going to be able to move things forward. Pendulum Swing comes on across. Killy is still pushing for more with that barrage. And Leo will be sent back away. The damage there is absolutely crazy with that knockback. Leo nearly taken off from non-staggered with that death touch. Will end up losing a barrier for it. Good flip there out of Moffin. Sends it right over to Dropleto, who has a flip of their own, and they take it into the goal. Bozo Bunch find another.
That was a burning hot core that Moffin sent down. Between the flip and the team player, that thing was lightning. And Dropleto, ready for it, finds themselves a goal. Great team play there. But Lob City getting yet another quick barrier here. They're finding the barriers, but like you said, it's just that confirmation. But it's looking good so far.
Good passing play once again here, and that has been the replicatable success state for the Bozo Bunch. They've been very good at being able to send it between Dropleto and Muncher and be able to get on towards the barriers with those unpredictable sorts of plays. Has been Leo taking it back on over right into the black hole, nearly gets a fancy angle right into the goal, but Moffin's still able to hold on. It does get passed over to Dropleto. Possession goes back over to the Bozo Bunch. They are able to push for the extra barrier. They open up the goal. Now just got to hold on up against Leo. Passes it down, snagged by the Oni's blade. And Leo says, no thank you, sir. That's going right to the goal.
That barrier was very difficult to hold for Shapeshifting, but even though they lost the barrier, they do get the point here, 1-1. But that said, both sides are making some great adjustments and making some great plays. So while previously I might have said this looked like a bit of a different caliber between teams, it's looking good here, just like that kill is looking good for the side of Bozo Bunch to secure this round, as, oh, the roll is unfortunate. Both barriers are taken.
And that's why they prioed this map here on the Bozo Bunch. They feel so well practiced there. Love that decision from Dropleto to go for the double barrier instead of the single. And pays off big time. They converted into a point in very quick fashion. 2-1 now. One more score. We'll take the Bozo Bunch over the line.
It's difficult. That's not how you want to lose that previous round, as it was so quick. But Leon once more on this kickoff, taking barriers left and right. Good by them. But that said, it just seemingly not enough. You would think with this big of a lead early on, so consistently, you'd find something happening a little bit more frequently. But the Bozo Bunch really just showing their experience here, even with a new goalie.
Yeah, really great stuff there. Dropleto finds the both barriers once again. Flip is available for Moffin and for Muncher. If they can execute this well, they will be able to close it out. There's the counter flip coming out across. Flip out of Muncher. Doesn't connect onto the core, though. And Killius does still have access to that resource, so they're going to be able to cycle back in, get Leo into position. Nearly KO'd once again, though. Moffin finds the combo, forces Leo onto the back foot, but they do manage to get that second barrier still. It's an open goal over on the right side. Killius a little bit hit stunned here, needs to get it past Dropleto. Brawling for possession. Leo comes on down, sent back away by the drone out of Muncher. Killius now has to help out on defense. Down to Muncher, back over to Dropleto. Tofu Fortress holding down. Muncher gets it back over. Dropleto holding out at midfield. Going to be able to claim it with the bull rush. They send it back in towards the black hole. Killius going to be able to move it past. Leo takes another shot up towards the top corner. Not going to be able to find its way into the goal. Bellringer going to keep things aggressive. Muncher takes the shot. Flip out of Dropleto. Doesn't connect onto the core, but with the Maximus, it might be enough. It will not be, though. Leo manages to find the clear. Leo hanging out at midfield now. Killius with the blast. Going to be able to push it into the goal. And we are going to 0.5 on the set.
Oh, you gotta win this next point if you're Lob City, and if they're playing like this, I think it's possible. Killiest has this flip, Leon's working on one, but if Leon can just keep taking these barriers off the rip, just like that for their team,
Another
2 down.
Really great stuff here coming out of Lob City. They want to fight their way back in this game. One more point would be able to do it, would send us to set number 5. But the fight back from Dropletto and Muncher still is here. They have so many resources. The flip is available for Muncher, soon will be for Dropletto as well. Cooldowns down for everybody else. Going into the Maximus, going into the flip, finding the first barrier. But the second will be held on to. Killiest and Leo, though, very low on the stagger. Tofu Fortress comes on across, spreading in a bit of an awkward position. Really tough for them to keep these shots coming on through. Leo resets with another slice and diced in. Killiest trying to approach from the bottom. Will get cleared out a second time. Moffin has access to the flip as necessary. Leo going to be staggered. Dives in for another. The flip comes on across. Doesn't find the core, but will hang on for now. Sent on down out of the Oni's blade. Moffin going to be able to finish off onto Leo as they cycle back for another attempt at the barrier. Flip out of Killiest. Going to kind of be stuffed right in his face there. Dropletto going to come in for one of his own. Still can't push in for the barrier, though. Killiest and shape-shifting so hard to hang on to. Dropletto sends it back from midfield on the back shot and somehow manages to find that barrier. Open goals now for both teams. Leo on a bit of a breakaway, trying to send it on through. Death Touch going to be found by Moffin. Sends it back over to Muncher. Muncher takes it into the top corner. And Bozo Bunch will be able to take the game. 2-0 win for them on the week.
I mean, just what can you do against this offense? That was just so tough to deal with. The plays have been excellent, but the player I really want to highlight here is Moffin. The player, while they may be a substitute, they look like they could have been on that main roster. They were playing excellently. They were just holding it down so well and really just bringing this team to life here, even in the face of being down a player of the main roster. Muncher having some amazing midfield plays, some great barrier takes, some great passes, just great awareness overall. And Dropletto, I mean, Brawlers get it done. That's all I can say. But even on the side of Lob City, they did have some excellent plays. Leon getting those barriers also just consistently on those kickoffs. Really great by them. Killiest helping out on the defense with shapeshifting, having a bit of the funny role there. But overall, they certainly played well. But in the face of the Bozo Bunch playing like that, it's just so tough.
Yeah, and I mean, that feels like a final nail in the coffin for Lob City's season here. Still plenty to play for over these back 3 weeks. You do want to get that better seeding coming into the promotion relegation tournament, right? You do not want to be that lowest possible seed if you can avoid it. It definitely does get you some harder matchups, and we find still, even in Season 4, every season, new teams come in. They are more competitive, seemingly, than the teams before them. Finding even here, right? Bang, bang, coming in off a promotion this split. They're 4-1 right now. You want to be able to avoid those sorts of matchups coming into the promotion tournament at whatever time you can. So playoff dreams might be a little bit dead here, but still going to be looking to compete in the standings.